Welcome to our channel, your gateway to the most extraordinary finds in the world of Lincoln pennies. These ultra-rare coins have captured the attention of collectors worldwide, and we're here to reveal what makes them truly special. Their exceptional rarity translates into impressive worth that continues to grow over time. Let's start with a coin that many people would walk past without a second glance. It's one of the most common denominations in U.S. currency, the penny. Found in wallets, cup holders, vending machine trays, and pockets across the country. And yet, in one particular case, a simple 2012 penny with no visible mint mark has quietly made its way into the spotlight as an unexpected treasure. At first glance, there's absolutely nothing flashy about it. It's a standard Lincoln cent. On the obverse, or the front side, you'll see Abraham Lincoln's right-facing portrait, the same design that has been used since 1909. Surrounding his image are the familiar inscriptions, "In God We Trust," along the top, "Liberty," to the left, and the date, 2012, on the right side. And just below the date, where you would typically expect to see a tiny letter indicating the mint, there's nothing. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the reverse design introduced in 2010, the Union Shield. It features 13 vertical stripes bound together, topped with a horizontal bar bearing the words, E pluribus unum. Below that, the large text reads, 1 cent, and United States of America curves across the top. It's a patriotic and straightforward design, representing strength and unity. There's nothing about the artwork or the finish that would give away the coin's value. But what makes this particular penny so interesting isn't what's there, it's what's missing. In the U.S. coinage system, each coin typically includes a mint mark to show where it was produced. A D indicates it was minted in Denver. An S stands for San Francisco, usually reserved for proof coins. And a P means the coin came from the Philadelphia Mint. For most modern coins, including those from Philadelphia, that mint mark is a routine part of the design. However, in 2012, a small number of Lincoln pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint without the P mint mark. This wasn't a special edition, nor was it something collectors were told to watch for at the time. It happened quietly. No announcement, no special packaging, no collector's release, just a regular batch of coins that left the mint with a tiny omission that most people didn't notice. There are a few reasons why this may have happened. It could have been an oversight during a die replacement or preparation phase. Sometimes, older dies that don't include mint marks are accidentally used in production. In any case, the result was a run of coins that, in every other way, looked completely ordinary, except for that missing letter. Because of this, many of these coins entered circulation unnoticed. They were used in stores, dropped into tip jars, handed out as change, or forgotten in drawers. For years, people spent them just like any other penny. It wasn't until collectors and sharp-eyed coin hunters began noticing the pattern that attention began to grow. The interesting part is that there's no confirmed record from the U.S. Mint about how many of these error coins were made. That lack of data has led to a lot of speculation among collectors. Some believe the number could be in the low thousands. Others think it might be far fewer. What we do know is that only a small number have surfaced in the collector market, and even fewer have been found in high-grade condition. That brings us to the concept of grading. For coins, condition is everything. A 2012 penny with no mint mark that's heavily worn, scratched, or damaged from circulation might still be interesting to a collector, but its value will be limited. However, if that same coin is found in near-perfect condition, no marks, full original luster, and strong strike, it becomes something entirely different. Grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, professionally examine and certify coins based on a standardized scale. A high grade, such as MS 65 or higher, mint state, can significantly increase a coin's market value. And when the coin in question is both rare and in excellent shape, the results can be surprising. That's exactly what happened with the 2012 no mint mark penny. In one standout case, a verified and graded example sold for an impressive $24,000. It's hard to believe that a coin originally worth just 1 cent, produced by the millions in a given year, could reach that kind of price. But it's not the metal content, the size, or even the age that makes it valuable. It's the combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. The missing mint mark turns it from a common item into a hidden variety. And the fact that it looks so similar to every other penny makes it even more exciting for collectors, because it could be hiding in plain sight. For someone casually going through change or searching through a roll of pennies, the difference can be subtle. But for those who know what to look for, spotting that blank space where a mint mark should be could lead to something significant. Now, to be clear, not every 2012 penny without a mint mark is automatically worth thousands. It all depends on the condition, and on professional verification. But the top examples, those that are well preserved and confirmed as authentic, have reached values that most people would never expect from a coin they could find in their own home. The next coin might seem even more ordinary than the last. In fact, it's the kind of coin most people would never give a second thought to. A penny dated 2007, no mint mark, copper-plated zinc, just like the countless others produced that year. You could find it sitting at the bottom of a drawer, mixed in with loose change on a kitchen counter, or even in the coin return tray of a vending machine. But under the surface, this specific coin carries something more, something that has quietly turned it into a standout among collectors. In 2007, the United States Mint was still producing the familiar Lincoln cent that had been in circulation since 1959, when the reverse design switched from the original wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial. The obverse, showing Lincoln's portrait, remained unchanged since it was first introduced in 1909 for his 100th birthday. By 2007, it had become one of the most recognizable coin designs in the world. Looking closely at a 2007 Lincoln penny, the design is exactly what you'd expect. Lincoln's profile faces to the right, sharp and dignified, with "In God We Trust" along the top edge of the coin, Liberty on the left, and the date, 2007, positioned on the right side. Usually, just beneath the date or slightly offset, there should be a mint mark. A D for Denver. A blank space for Philadelphia. That's where things start to get interesting. A large number of 2007 Lincoln cents were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and as was standard practice at the time, Philadelphia coins typically didn't include a mint mark. That might sound unremarkable, but the reason this matters is because in rare cases, coins that were expected to follow this pattern either broke away from it slightly or were struck using abnormal or repurposed dies. And in a very limited number of instances, a 2007 Lincoln cent that should have followed a predictable template ended up with characteristics that made it stand out sharply from the rest. The coin we're focusing on today is one of those extremely scarce 2007 Lincoln pennies that, despite having no mint mark, has been verified as part of a small group that stands apart. While most Philadelphia-struck coins don't carry a mint mark, what makes this one different is not the absence of the letter alone, but the unique combination of die condition, striking quality, and surface characteristics that align it with a rare production anomaly. It's the kind of subtle variation that often flies under the radar for years before finally being recognized by the numismatic community. What sets this coin apart is how it was discovered. Not in a sealed bag from a collector or as part of a high-grade proof set, but in general circulation. Someone sorting through a batch of regular coins came across it, not expecting anything unusual. But after noticing slight variations in the design pressure, sharper than usual detail, and other subtle markers, they sent it in for grading. The results were unexpected. Upon professional evaluation, the coin revealed more than just a minor variation. It met the criteria for a rare mint error, falling into a unique category that doesn't often appear in mainstream collecting circles. The surfaces were exceptionally well preserved, the strike was nearly flawless, and the lack of a mint mark, combined with the characteristics of the coin, put it in a category that numismatists consider to be highly collectible. It's not the kind of thing you'd expect from a 2007 penny, especially considering how many of them were made. But when even a small group of coins breaks away from the expected norm, and those coins survive in pristine condition, it opens the door to strong interest from collectors, dealers, and investors. These coins, once authenticated and professionally graded, don't just get stored away, they become the centerpiece of collections. And because this particular 2007 Lincoln cent has been graded at a near-perfect level, with preservation that far exceeds most other examples from that year, its market value has risen steadily. Quietly at first, but with growing recognition among specialized collectors. That growth in interest eventually led to competitive bidding, and that's where the coin's journey takes a surprising turn. During a private auction, this unassuming 1-cent coin, dated 2007 and bearing no mint mark, was purchased for $33,000. Not a printing plate. Not a prototype. Not a gold coin from the 1800s. A standard-sized penny from less than 2 decades ago. Yet here it stands, valued in the 5-figure range because of what it represents, a rare variation, preserved against the odds, recognized for its uniqueness in a sea of sameness. And for those watching closely, it's a reminder that the most unexpected finds sometimes come from the most familiar places. A penny that most people wouldn't think twice about turns out to be one of the standout coins of its year, not through flash, but through the quiet details that matter to the people who really know what they're looking at. Next up is a coin that proves how something completely ordinary on the surface can turn out to be anything but. It's the 1996 Lincoln cent from the Denver Mint, a coin that many of us have probably spent or handled at some point without even realizing it. And yet, under just the right circumstances, one of these pennies has become something that collectors now chase with serious interest. Now, if you were to pick up a random 1996 penny today, chances are it would look worn. Maybe the edges are dull, the color has faded to a dull brown, or it's got a few nicks and scratches from decades of use. That's expected. After all, this coin was minted in the billions, over 6.5 billion, to be more exact. These weren't collector coins. They were struck for everyday circulation, meant to change hands countless times. But that's where things get interesting. Because while nearly all of those billions of pennies have lived hard lives in circulation, a handful of them, just a few, escaped. Not literally, of course, but they avoided the normal wear and tear. Somehow, they stayed protected, untouched, carefully stored, or simply forgotten in uncirculated rolls or mint-sealed bags. When these few coins resurface, and their condition is carefully examined, they show a level of preservation that's almost impossible to find in coins of their kind. And that's what changes everything. The 1996 penny still carries the same design introduced in 1959. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's profile faces to the right, with "In God We Trust" arching above him, Liberty to his left, and the date to the right. Just below the year is the Denver mint mark, a small detail, but important to collectors who track mintage locations and variations. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stretches across the center of the coin, a structure so detailed that, under magnification, you can actually see the tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside. It's a design that stayed consistent for decades. And for most, it became so familiar that people stopped really looking at it. But in coin collecting, that's often the mistake, because within these ordinary designs, extraordinary coins can be hiding. For the 1996 penny, the story isn't about a dramatic error or design change. It's about condition. More specifically, it's about exceptional condition. While billions were made, only a microscopic percentage have survived with their original mint red luster, sharp strike, and completely unblemished surfaces. To reach the highest levels of collector interest, these coins have to be in mint state condition, ideally MS 67 or better. Achieving that grade is extremely rare for modern circulating coins because even small imperfections can bring the score down. It only takes one tiny nick, one faint scratch, or a slightly weak strike to lower the value significantly. But in one particular case, a 1996 penny defied all expectations. It wasn't just in decent shape. It was in nearly perfect condition. Full red color, no carbon spots, no marks, no surface wear. It looked almost exactly as it did the day it was struck nearly 3 decades ago. A coin like that doesn't just pass through everyday hands, it had clearly been preserved with incredible care. This specific coin was sent for grading and received one of the highest known scores ever given to a 1996 penny. The moment it was certified, its fate changed. It was no longer just a leftover penny from the 90s, it was now one of the finest known examples of that year and mint. And that's where the collector market responds. You see, collectors don't just want old coins, they want the best preserved coins. Coins that stand out among millions. In a competitive hobby, where condition means everything, having the top-graded coin for a common year can sometimes matter more than having a lower-grade coin from a rare year. That's how this one particular 1996 penny went from being worth 1 cent, to sparking serious bidding at auction. It began with quiet interest. A few collectors recognized the rarity of its grade. Some knew that no other example had ever reached that level. Others simply wanted to own what was clearly a best-in-class coin. The bids came in steadily, with each buyer understanding the weight of what they were pursuing, not a flashy coin, not a historical relic, but a perfect survivor. And after the dust settled, and the final bid was cast, this tiny 1-cent piece, this coin that had avoided pockets, coin jars, cash drawers, and vending machines, sold for a price that most people would never associate with a penny. It sold for $52,000. Not because it was rare in mintage. Not because of a famous era. But because it was one of the very few that made it through 3 decades in flawless condition, untouched, uncirculated, and unmatched. This is exactly why coin collecting continues to capture the imagination of people around the world. It's not always about what's old or what's shiny. It's about the story each coin carries. The journey it has, or hasn't, taken. The odds it has beaten. A 1996 penny may seem forgettable to most. But in the right condition, at the right time, in the right hands, it becomes something entirely different. Now let's move on to a coin that on the surface looks quite ordinary, yet holds a story that many would find surprising, the 1977 USA 1-cent penny without a mint mark. If you look at it casually, it's just a small copper coin, featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on one side, and the Lincoln Memorial on the other. This design has been iconic for decades and is something most Americans have seen countless times in their daily lives. But what separates this particular penny from the rest is the journey it has taken through time and the exceptional condition it has managed to retain, something rare for coins of this era. Back in 1977, the United States was in a period of economic growth and transition. The demand for coins was enormous, as the economy was bustling and cash transactions were still very much the norm. The penny itself was made primarily of copper, 95% copper mixed with 5% zinc, giving it that distinctive reddish color that many of us associate with older pennies. The coin had been produced in this form for decades, making it familiar but also a staple of everyday commerce. The penny was minted in 2 primary locations at this time, Philadelphia and Denver. Pennies produced in Denver carry a small D mint mark, while those produced in Philadelphia typically did not bear any mint mark. This particular coin, the 1977 penny without a mint mark, indicates it was minted in Philadelphia. While millions of these pennies were produced, easily running into the hundreds of millions, the vast majority quickly entered circulation. From wallets to cash registers, from vending machines to coin jars, these coins saw constant use, which often left them worn, scratched, or dulled from age. What makes the 1977 no mint mark penny truly special is not its mintage numbers, but rather its condition. Condition is everything in coin collecting. While millions of these pennies were minted, very few have survived decades later in uncirculated or near perfect condition. Most pennies you find today from that period are heavily worn, their details faded, and their once bright copper color now a dull brown or even black from oxidation. For collectors, a coin that remains in mint state condition, meaning it has never been circulated and retains its original appearance from the moment it was struck, is a rare find. Such coins preserve their original red luster, sharp details, and smooth surfaces. This kind of preservation for a coin as common as the 1977 penny is unusual, making these examples highly desirable. Collectors also focus heavily on the grade of a coin. Grading is a precise process where experts examine every tiny detail, the sharpness of the strike, the quality of the surfaces, the absence of scratches, and the clarity of all lettering and designs. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with anything above 60 considered excellent and above 65 near perfect. For modern coins like the 1977 penny, grades of MS 67 or higher are incredibly rare. The design of the coin itself deserves a closer look, too. On the obverse, we see the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln, created by Victor David Brenner and introduced in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1977, are carefully struck around the profile. The reverse side features the Lincoln Memorial, which was introduced in 1959. The level of detail in the memorial's architecture is impressive for a small coin, with the tiny statue of Lincoln visible between the columns under magnification. This particular penny, without a mint mark, retained its stunning red color, crisp details, and smooth fields, indicators it had never been handled by the public. Such preservation likely means it was stored away, perhaps in a coin collection or in rolls sealed directly from the mint and never opened. This is a story of survival, showing how a coin made for everyday use can, against the odds, remain untouched and flawless decades later. When this penny was submitted for professional grading, experts recognized its exceptional quality immediately. It received one of the highest possible grades, placing it among the very best-known examples of this coin. This certification gave collectors confidence in the coin's authenticity and condition, which are crucial factors in the collector market. As this remarkable penny was put up for auction, interest grew steadily. Collectors and investors who understood the rarity of such a well-preserved coin competed for the chance to own it. Unlike error coins or those with unusual features, the value here was in the coin's flawless preservation, a quiet kind of rarity but no less exciting for serious collectors. The auction bidding was intense but measured, reflecting the respect and appreciation the coin commanded. When the final hammer fell, the penny sold for an incredible $75,000. This figure underscores how condition and preservation can elevate even the most common coins into highly prized treasures. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this story as intriguing as I did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our upcoming videos. There's a whole world of amazing coins waiting to be discovered, and I'm excited to share those journeys with you.